laughing or not.
That's nice.
How's your week been?
I love Halloween. I had a fun week.
Awesome.
I straightened my hair and was Jimmy Butler for Halloween.
Nice. Did you get the piercings too?
I'm not that dedicated. Man, were his piercings real?
Yeah, but his hair was fake. He had extensions in.
Mm.
Wait, those are you? I don't think those piercings were real. Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Them's the times.
We got Sports and Fitness Rants here. How are you today, sir?
You guys know the deal, man. Once again, man, it's time to do it. You know, the Sunday show, man. It's great to be back, man. I wasn't here last week, but I'm here this week. So shout out to everybody in the chat as usual, man. Shout out to my man AOH for coming through as usual to resolve the video footage. Shout out to my man Dart, of course, man, for holding it down as usual, man. Shout out to my man Speen, man. Hopefully we'll get some people to come through, man, that aren't here right now. Once again, guys, you know the deal, man. Let's roll.
And we got Steam Engine from Precision Hoops. How are you today, sir?
I'm well. I'm not even going to try to follow that. Let's just get started.
I love you
Precision
guys.
Hoops, where no one is on time.
Precision Hoops, Wednesday night. We do have a good show this week coming up. We're going to be pulling thoughts out of our asses in terms of what we think is going to happen this year. But a lot of it's coming true already. So check that out. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Eastern Standard.
Your studio
right,
nice, Beam.
Thanks. Listen, I don't need that. So let's just come on. But so not much of a budget in terms of marketing here at Steam Engine Studios. You know,
I'm fucking was being serious. It's good lighting, good spacing.
I can't tell. I honestly I can't tell.
I try to be nice, and this happens. I try to be nice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, fuck you.
So AOH, what is the thing that what is the most intriguing thing that you saw last week over this week of the NBA?
Easily, it was that Bronny and LeBron went to breakfast together when Vince Carter had his jersey retired. It was a historic moment for the James family.
How do you feel about that the whole media playing that up?
Oh God, did I not complain enough last week on the show? And again on Wednesday. I think the sad reality has hit me, and you guys see I'm dialing back my show. We talk about how the NBA is just entertainment, and of course the NBA itself says, well, we are an entertainment company, but it's become the Jerry Springer show. You know, they're keeping people watching by having more and more ridiculous crap happen. Like when you hear about Joel Embiid, it's so bad that I'm like, okay, is this scripted? Like, who in the hell assaults somebody? And what could the person have even said? Because all these reporters do nowadays is suck up. And it's like, which compliment would you like to hear first today, NBA player? And that will be the extent of the reporting. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see. I wish we had a little bit bigger panel. What is Giannis skilled or not skilled? Because you hear the ESPN and TNT all list him as the best player in the NBA, and yet there's this ongoing debate about whether or not he's even skilled. And of course, the Doc Rivers thing, we got into it pretty interesting last week about how the narrative that it was unfair for Mark Jackson to be replaced by Steve Kerr was not so unfair after all, according to Scap. And I got to say, the fact that Doc Rivers keeps getting coaching positions makes any other thing just look fair by comparison, no matter how unfair it was. You gonna let me keep talking? Right. Oh, I'll just keep going.
No. As I explained before the show, another reason why I'm going to let Restream go is because it keeps lagging me out. So I'm just
man,
like an idiot because it's lagging me out. It's not that I can't take the cues. It's that I just can't see them. But Robin, what do you have to say about what AOH is talking about and generally about the Bucks situation.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I think that there's a bunch of different avenues that we need to discuss today on this Sunday show. I see some people in the comment section talking about Joel Embiid. AOH brought up Joel Embiid. We could talk about, load managing and guys missing games already for really what I really wouldn't consider an injury. It's more so these guys are just dealing with these pains and bruises that everyday athletes, used to deal with and continue to play. But today, these kinds of things keep these guys out of games. We could talk about some of the other storylines also, some of the surprise teams, some of the players. You guys mentioned Giannis. Giannis is confusing to me because I talked about Giannis on my channel, and I mentioned, what I asked was, what's up with him? Because his numbers look great. If you look at his numbers, the man's averaging 30 points a game. He's second, I believe, in the league in points per game. I believe he's one of the top rebounders in the NBA right now as well. And he's also averaging, I believe, about 6 assists a game. But yeah, and still, it's not really having the impact on the game, on the Milwaukee Bucks. But when you dig down and you look at the game of Giannis, he's not really having the impact on the defensive end that he once used to have. His offensive rebounding numbers are way, way down. I mean, Trae Young is averaging more offensive rebounds than Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, Trae Young. I mean, it's really weird. His blocks, he's not even averaging a steal or a block per game. Giannis, this guy who used to be a monster, not saying that he was averaging 3, 4, 5 steals or, 3, 4, 5 blocks a game, but Giannis was out there impacting the game on both sides. And he just doesn't seem to have it out there, which is obviously impacting the Milwaukee Bucks in the way that they seem. And once again, when you have someone like a Damian Lillard come to your team, these are the things that we're alluding to with some of these players when we talk about how you don't make the people around you better. And when we say that people are not winners, Damian Lillard's not a winner, man. No matter where he goes, even playing with someone like Giannis, he's managed to make Giannis look like he don't even want to play basketball anymore. So we'll talk about some of these storylines. We can also talk about the Los Angeles Lakers and how they're on pace to go for over a plus 900 from the free throw line as far as differential. If you extrapolate the numbers that they've gotten over the last 6 games and you multiply that to over 82 games, they're on pace to be over plus 900 at the free throw line. It's insane. And why is it insane? Because it's been a continuation over the last couple seasons. So we'll talk about a bunch of these different kinds of storylines. We could talk about, like I said, some of the surprise teams like the Golden State Warriors, who have been without Steph Curry over the last 3 games or so. They're one of the top defensive teams in the league, holding teams to one of the lowest field goal percentages right underneath the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we'll talk about some of these things.
I just want to brag on myself. Several episodes ago, actually before the season started, they said we were discussing if the Lakers were going to have a terrible season. I said, you just wait and see what the NBA does for him. And a lot of people in the comments were like, oh my God, you're a conspiracy theorist, ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. And I said, if they're going to give them plus 500 free throws, you already crossed the line of ridiculousness. So why not go with 700? And we're already there.
Exactly.
I'm actually going to
talking about. We're already in full swing at the beginning. Go ahead, Speed.
Yeah. And that's actually exactly what I was going to piggyback off of. In my notes, like I have the headline, how much more do you need to see? Right. Because everything that we pissed and moaned about over the summer and last summer is coming to fruition exactly as we had described it. One, aside from the free throw differential, which I think they're 24.5 a game now, I'm disappointed in Anthony Davis because he is by far the focal point of that team, and he just refuses to.
A lot of chameleons out there.
He just refuses to step up and say, I'm sick of this like sideshow stuff with Bronny. Like, this is my team. Like, he just refuses to take the alpha role, and it's really disappointing to see that. Their backup center, Jackson Hayes, there's a video of him beating the shit out of his girlfriend. And that is under, quote unquote, under investigation. He's still playing. He's still an active player. But let that be, Yusuf Nurkic. They probably suspend him for the season. But they're going to do what they can to keep the Lakers in contention. These are obvious things that are taking place. Even letting JJ Redick sit up there and talk for more than a minute or two is like doing them a favor because he's so pretentious in everything that he says. and not one reporter, asks him what he means other than saying some ridiculous quote that takes 5 minutes when he could just say, "We lost the game," or "They set a screen." But nobody calls him out on that.
I saw JJ's. Sorry, I just want to agree with you because I was walking through the bars. I was enjoying a day bar hopping in North Beach, and on the screens, I'm seeing JJ Redick's face, and he's constantly being interviewed. And it's not post game; it's specials. They're already doing specials. How many games into the season are we? Promoting this idea that the JJ Redick idea is a good thing. They're already, JJ, my God, what's the key to your success? I'm like, what success?
Ooh, I pulled a quote. Listen to this. They're just asking him about Twitter, mind you. This is a direct quote. "I think there are many benefits for social media and Twitter. The bandwidth that I have, where I have to be, ellipsis, you have to understand this too. And I've talked with a number of my close friends who are head coaches. My bandwidth when you have the kids, there has to be intentionality about your time when you're at home." Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, you stay off Twitter. What, you know what I mean? You know how long it took me to say that? And that's all of his post game. That's all of his post game press conferences. It's disgusting. And what, like you said, what has he proven to be given this agency, this majesty? You know what I mean?
He likes to be on camera and he likes to talk, and basically that's all the NBA needs now: an actor, a character.
Touche.
Speaking of characters, do you have a twin brother or a son? AOH?
I'm just a big fan. NB Sports had such bad takes, according to someone, that I thought I would come as my greatest hero, which is AOH. But
mimicry is the ultimate form of flattery.
Yes.
I was gonna say, where's NB Sports with his always horrible takes?
He's locked up in the back somewhere. I'll let him out later.
Boy. I hurt some feelings.
Who said you had horrible takes?
Guys, first of all, let me just point out, what is with today's NBA? The guys are so entitled, and it's just no team game, and they get paid so much. They don't even play 70 games anymore, Back to you guys.
That's supposed to be me.
Those are my takes now.
Oh,
yo, you know what? I saw some people in the comments talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, and yeah, man, much respect to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we talked about this, or I talked about this on my channel rather, about how the Cleveland Cavalier fans were acting the other night when the Los Angeles Lakers came to town, and they were cheering for Bryant to enter the game. And your team is undefeated. They're having a fantastic season, man. They're playing very good defense. Like I said, they're one of the top rebounding teams. And the fans in Cleveland are over there cheering for Bryant to enter the game. They're celebrating LeBron James coming home. LeBron James coming home. You're celebrating. Why are you celebrating LeBron James coming home? Because he left. That's why you're celebrating him coming home, because he left y'all. He didn't leave y'all once but twice, man. But shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've been doing their thing. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, they've been having a fantastic start to the season. They're one of the top defensive teams in the league right now. Also holding the lowest field goal percentage to any team in the league, man. So shout out to those teams so far also.
Real fast, I want to get fake AOH's take on the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you think about that, fake AOH?
Yeah, 1-5, not too good. I guess the thing though is that with that much talent, you just have to assume in the East they get it back on track. But barring injuries, I'm going to quote the great Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to tell everybody to relax. I think they will be just fine. They'll probably finish top 5 in the East, I think. First 6 games, let's not panic. But I think they'll be fine. They have enough talent on that team. They'll be all right.
That's quite an underachievement for having the best player in the league, though. Is ESPN completely full of crap about Giannis being the best player in the league?
You got to get Dame out of there.
Well, I think a lot of people would say when healthy and going, Giannis probably has proved he can be the best. So I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say he's still the best. Maybe hasn't proved it in the last year or two, but he still has the capability.
Just athletically and effort, or a skill set? Because having no skill set is the other topic about Giannis that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, he's still young, so he doesn't really need to find a jumper in the next year or two. But you're right. He's one of those guys who has not evolved his game. He's got a little bit of a shot, a little bit. If he's wide open, standing, set shot, you know, he can maybe hit some of those. But yeah, you're right. He's pure athleticism.
That's not even my take.
Muscle gain in evolution in his game.
Say it one more time.
His muscle gain, all the muscle he put on between seasons.
You're saying what? That's bad?
No, I'm saying you wouldn't consider that an evolution in his game?
No, I don't think just hitting the gym in terms of a skill sport is what I'm talking about. In terms of evolving your game, right? You got to get your skill set and your mind right. I think more importantly than your body, right?
No, listen. The thing with Giannis, you guys are kind of on the same page, but not seeing the same thing. When we talk about the skill set, Giannis has plenty of skills. I mean, why don't you guys think? I want everyone to think about something. Everybody in the chat, I want everybody to listen real loud here. Kevin Durant is often regarded, I hear people say, that he's one of the most skilled scorers in the history of the game. Kevin Durant, right? You hear people say that all the time. Oh, Kevin Durant, one of the most skilled scorers in NBA's history, man. He's a walking bucket. Do you guys realize that Giannis's all-time career high in points in a game is greater than Kevin Durant's? He's actually scored over 60 points in a game before Giannis. Kevin Durant never did that. Now, what are the reasons for that? One of the main reasons is what? The mentality of Kevin Durant. Look at Kevin Durant right now. He's being really not carried, but he's being led scoring-wise by a Devin Booker. Because Kevin Durant's mentality is not to go out there and score at all costs by any means necessary. He has the ability to go out there and drop 60 or drop 70, right? They'll say at any given moment he could drop 60. He's never done it, though. Never done it once. Giannis has. So his skills are obviously there. He could put up more points in the game than Kevin Durant ever did. The problem for Giannis is, like you guys mentioned, the evolution of Giannis has not been there. So essentially what's going on, look at Giannis this season. He's shooting, what, 56% from the free throw line? Are you kidding me right now? These are the kinds of things we're alluding to. So when I talked earlier and I mentioned Giannis and he's averaging like 30 points a game, like 12 rebounds, 6 assists, you're like, holy hell, what Giannis could do? What else can he do to lead the Milwaukee Bucks? But if you watch some of the games and you dig down into the hustle stats, and then I tell you that Trae Young is averaging more offensive rebounds than the 6'11" monster Giannis with the athletic freak. How is that possible? Because he's not giving the effort that he once did. He's not impacting the game on both sides of the ball like he once did. He hasn't made the all-defensive team in the last 2 seasons. Giannis Antetokounmpo. When I heard Anthony Davis was the only player to make the All-NBA team and the All-Defensive team last year, when Steph said that a couple of Sundays ago, I thought he was full of crap. There's no way Giannis wasn't on both sides, but he wasn't. He hasn't been there in 2 seasons. So when you talk about him not even averaging a block a game or even a steal a game, Giannis Antetokounmpo, once again, these are the kinds of things that we're talking about. And the Milwaukee Bucks, to me, they don't have a lot of talent on that team. They start Brook Lopez, who has way more blocks than Giannis this season. He's their defensive anchor, Brook Lopez. They don't have anybody really.
I was gonna say real quick. I have in the NFL they have the 30-year-old rule for running backs. Like once you hit 30 for whatever reason, it just seems like you just fall off a cliff historically. I kind of have a big man 30-year-old rule in the NBA as well, where someone like a Dwight Howard or a Giannis, even if by the time you get to 30, if you haven't developed some other skills other than just being like an athletic, dominant basketball player, you're really going to start to struggle on the downhill of 30. And I do think Giannis might be headed for some of that. So that's kind of what I'll say. I think AOH want to say something.
2 questions for the panel. Could he also have gotten his championship too soon, and now he doesn't have that desire in him anymore? And 2, I just want to say again, this was not my take. I think it's really weird that a lot of people out there are talking about Giannis not having that great of a skill set while ESPN is calling him the greatest player in the league, ranking him at number 1. And adding to that, Sports and Fitness's point, it sounds like he's just not putting in the effort. Well, how do you rank someone who's not putting in the effort as number 1, whether they have skills or not?
Hey, wait, they got LeBron James number 7. He ain't got no skills like that.
We know how that one works.
Well, let me go first with that because I haven't gone yet. The aspect of Giannis being considered the number 1 skilled player in the NBA is laughable. Now, if you want to say that he's one of the best in the league, I think he is. But I think a lot of it is it's very LeBron-esque. He gets these stats. He's heavily leaned on in the team play. And talking about takes that we had in the past, if y'all remember, I said that this Dame trade was going to be absolutely garbage for the Bucks. And look what happened with Drew Holiday to the Celtics. They won the championship. Drew Holiday won the championship with the Bucks a few years ago. And I said he was the key, if you all remember, that he was the key to that Bucks team. And look what happens. He goes to the Celtics, they win a championship. I think what Giannis has is, and especially with the guy that I'm really sour on at this point, Doc Rivers, who was my Sixers coach, who just, I don't know what he did. I mean, again, this is just a layman talking, but the aspect of, I don't understand, like to your guys' point, I don't understand how he's got a job in the NBA. He just seems to keep fumbling, and only to the point where they keep pushing him as one of the best coaches in the NBA, that he's got because he won the one championship with the Celtics. He won the coach of the year with the Magic, but people always push him as being the best, if not the best coach in the NBA, one of the best coaches in the NBA. And I don't understand how they do that, because where are the results with that?
I actually think he underachieved with the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics should have lost to Kobe. Was Doc Rivers coaching them?
He was. He was coaching them at that time. But let me finish up what I'm saying. And that just goes on with how the Bucks have done this year. They're what, 2-4? They've got a coach that really isn't able to pull this team together. And the aspect of it is that they lost an integral piece, and they put a shot chucker, a ball dominant guy with Dame Lillard on that team. It was a dumb decision when they had their ball dominant guy in Giannis, who can get to the hole, and he can go downhill, LeBron James-esque, and he's able to get the rebounds. In a phrase, I would say that Giannis has, again, this is a really general statement, he's very LeBron-esque, except he's younger and he's able to get to the rim better and he's able to get more rebounds. So if you're going to try and make that work, have the pieces around him. Don't try and put Dame Lillard in there to take a lot of the gravity away. If you're going to lean on one guy with a lot of role players, it doesn't make sense. If that's your strategy, why'd you put Dame Lillard in there? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say it's, although rare and hard, I would say it is possible to be the best player but not have an amazing skill set. Shaq or Dwight Howard, those kind of guys come to mind.
He's not better than Jokic.
Dominant.
So.
And
I was gonna say Joker not even being brought up in this conversation is kind of scary.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but because I only wanted to say one more thing to you, fake AOH, is that your hair is absolutely phenomenal in comparison to the real AOH. Anyway, I won't interrupt.
Well, that's because this is all natural. That's
I agree.
You guys,
I look amazing.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I forgot to mention the hair thing. So
yeah, first of all, I don't think Giannis is the best. If you had to be devil's advocate and say how could he be the best, it's obviously just through physical dominance, right? And it is possible, like I just said, although hard, you could be not that skilled and still somehow be the best player. It's rare, but it could happen if I had to be devil's advocate for Giannis.
I just want to say something. I saw somebody in the chat. Someone said something about skills equals production, and production is something or whatever they were talking about. And the thing, production makes you great. That doesn't make any sense. Listen, when we're talking about this kind of era, and we're talking about production, when you say that your skills equal or get you production, yeah, because in this era, the production is all inflated. It's all fraudulent. That's what we're alluding to. We've been talking about on these Sunday shows and on our channels. The stats in this era don't hold up to the stats in the past. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Like I said the other day, if you look at LeBron James, let's talk about LeBron James. And he has what? How many rebounds this season? How many rebounds is he averaging this year? You go look at these numbers. Oh, LeBron James has production on the rebounds. But when you dig deeper into the game, and we're talking about hustling on the court, hustle and effort is what gives you winning. That's what leads to winning, is giving the effort and hustling. The offensive rebounds are hustle rebounds. Those are the rebounds that require more effort. When you look at a lot of these guys' numbers, Luka Doncic will have 15 rebounds in a game. And everybody like, oh my God, Luka Doncic with 35 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. And 15 of those rebounds, zero offensive or offensive for Luka Doncic. Zero. James Harden, he'll have 13 rebounds. Oh my God, James Harden, he's got a triple-double. He's got 13 rebounds. He's got the production. But when you watch James Harden on the court, half of those rebounds are flat-footed. He's standing still. They bounce and hit him in the face, essentially. He's forced to rebound the basketball. He has no choice but to rebound it. These are not hustle plays. It's quite the contrary. So you can't just look at production, quote-unquote production, and say that's from your skills, because that's not the case. That's what I'm talking about. Giannis is having production. He's averaging he's second in the league in scoring. He's one of the top rebounders, averaging, 11, 12 rebounds. He's one of the top assist men at his position, if not the top assist man at his position. But he's not getting it done in the hustle category. It's not impacting the winning. And Damian Lillard is a perfect example of this. He's not a winner. We talk about making the plays around you better, and you guys bring up Nikola Jokic. That's exactly what you're talking about. Nikola Jokic doing more with less. And we were talking about that with Giannis a couple of years ago, doing more with less, winning the old school way when they won the championship. But Dart, you hit it right in the head when you talk about Drew Holiday.
I'm hoping you watched my A Dead Man Could Get This Rebound that I just published.
That's exactly what I was thinking about when I said that, AOH.
I like that title. I came up with that title, actually. I gave it to AOH.
That was a real if NMB Sports did that, it would have been a terrible take. But anyway.
Oh shit, dude! I'm
Rob,
not gonna lie,
should have been here.
Wig is too much fun. Like, it's just I should do this more often. I think it's
blackface in 2024 is crazy.
But yeah, both you guys are getting canceled.
So okay, let's go back to the free throw disparity with the Lakers. Do y'all? We'll start with fake AOH. Do you think that it's going to continue and just expand? Do you think it could be the greatest free throw disparity of all time in the regular season?
That's
fake
for you,
AOH.
fake.
Oh, you're asking me. I apologize. I'm not used to going by this name. So, what is the current? I guess you guys already talked about this. What is the current disparity?
Jesus Christ!
It's plus 70.
Get him off the show.
Plus 70 for the year
for the Lakers.
In
that's
what?
Like plus
in
10 a
game. Yeah.
That's 24 a game. 24 a game.
Will it keep happening?
Will it be the biggest disparity of all time?
I'm just gonna go no. All time sounds like a lot, but I don't know. They're doing something right, I suppose, paying the right people.
All right, Speem.
It's just going to get worse. AD's balling out. I mean, that's going to be the excuse for the rest of the year, is they don't know how to ref them.
If they
mental, I'm telling you right now.
I'll remind you that when LeBron went into his tantrum and the Lakers were already getting more free throws than everyone, the league didn't punish him. They rewarded him for that.
They rewarded him.
And it got even worse. So I'm going to say that is a reason to believe that it will continue this direction.
AD shooting 12 free throws a game. Damn.
He leads the team in points and rebounds, and we hear about him maybe once, twice a week.
This guy came with the shades.
We got Scap Attack here and 2 AOHs.
Yo, what's up, guys? Sorry I'm late. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scat from the Boost Mobile.
I know why he tuned in, because he heard me say that the Lakers should not have beaten the Celtics, and I'm blaming Doc Rivers for that during Kobe's time.
Well, firstly, yeah, sorry, I'm in movement, so I'm not affixed yet here, and I might not be able to stay on the whole time. But I wanted to get on and catch up with you guys, mainly because the NBA season is just in flux right now, and I wanted to hear what you guys were saying. I didn't know I'd be walking into some kind of a lunacy with having Doc Rivers being the problem with Kobe winning his 5th championship. But I mean, is the wig too tight? I can't see. Is that a different one? It's cutting off the oxygen, I think.
I did not have that take, so
But no, that's a valid commentary, I guess. I think I remember there seeing a timeout, like they had a hot mic and like a cam on, like a timeout, like a huddle, I believe during that 5th championship run, that the 2010 championship, and Phil Jackson was like huddled, had all the players around him. He's like, guys, just keep doing what you're doing, keep chipping away. We know this team is going to collapse. It's who they are. It's what they've done all season, all playoffs. We're the team, and we know if we just stay the course, we can get it done. So that team was by far more talented than the Lakers team was. So I mean that's not necessarily that hot of a take. It adds to Kobe's legacy though that he got that ring against that stacked team. But there's no doubt that the bum loser Doc Rivers factored that in with what he's doing right now in Milwaukee. It is an absolute atrocity. Guys, I ranted last week on what the Denver Nuggets have done to poor Nikola Jokic. And I feel like I'm looking at similar trends in Milwaukee, only probably worse. Like they're 1-5, they're bottom like 4 in total net differential right now. Guys, to take one of my favorite words, it's been heinous ass in Milwaukee this year, and I don't see any way out other than a Giannis trade. But sorry, I didn't want to jumble up what you guys were talking about. I think I heard you were talking about the Lakers and their ridiculous free throw discrepancy. So please continue.
Well, I think you're the only other person that was on the panel last week, so I'm glad you're here. NMB Sports is doing this because he's butthurt that I said he had bad takes, and you were there. Go ahead and rank.
What were the bad takes, by the way?
Rank his takes. Rank his takes from last week.
Hey, you're not supposed to say butthurt.
I can't with you guys, man.
I'm sorry. I'll say heinous ass.
There you go.
Now wait a second here. I
rank them. How good were they?
Listen.
How good were those takes?
You guys really took exception to his. I believe it was his Lakers take, right? That was like the main point of contention with his
week
take.
1. I got to draw a conclusion. They're 3-0. Like, how is that not the biggest take from week 1, in my opinion?
Wait, what did Nick say? I missed that part.
I don't know.
Nick, what did you say?
I thought Redick taking the Lakers to 3-0 was the biggest surprise of week 1.
But they were 3 home games, though.
They were 3 home games. I don't even have them as a playoff team, so
I can't necessarily disagree with that being an alarming take. My biggest take, though, is how putrid the Nuggets looked in week 1. But no, I could see the Lakers were a huge surprise. To echo what Rance is saying up there, it was 3 home games, but I too was drinking some Laker Kool-Aid after week 1. And look, listen, we know AD, if he doesn't get hurt and if his usage remains consistent, it looks as if he's probably going to lead the NBA in scoring, at least be top probably 3 in league-wide scoring, along with double-digit rebounds, like 3 blocks, and he's going to be all NBA caliber defense. So we know that the Lakers already had that, and we already knew that they had the free throw discrepancy. We know that they had the league offices. We know that they have the officials. I think I just did a video on this. I believe it's 180 to 110 now that they're out shooting their opponents. That's a plus 70 this year. And they're currently, if you look at to start 2 years ago to the end of the playoffs last year, they were plus 1119. That's 1,119 more free throws than they shot than their opponents. But that's not even that crazy. The most staggering element of that statistic is that number 2 on that list, the New York Knicks, during that same 2-year span, was plus 428. So you're telling me that the Lakers tripled the next highest person on that entire metric. It is mind-boggling. And just to put a final little bow on top of this, the Lakers' net differential the last 2 seasons in the regular season, 0.6 of a point, plus 0.6 in both years. So you mean to tell me that a team winning games on average by a half a point a game in an 82-game regular season is outshooting their opponents by 1,100 during that span, and it's triple the next team in that metric. Obviously, this isn't even a playoff team if it's not for the league's heroic efforts to lift them into it.
That's the point right there, Scat, that you just said. These guys are literally fighting for a play-in every season, even though all those numbers that Scat just read off, that's the indictment. And on top of it, you literally watch LeBron James and his teammates with their palms up, shoulders shrugged, as if they don't get calls. They're crying for calls all over the court. They're flopping around as if they don't get those calls.
And this is all helping my point. I never said that the Lakers weren't going to win. I thought the Lakers were going to win for all of these reasons. I thought the bad take was giving JJ Redick credit for it.
But I don't know if credit was the way I if I did say that, I mean, I just was surprised at them going 3-0, and I think JJ being the new piece. I mean, I'm just surprised I looked as good or doing as good as they are. We'll see how it plays out for the season, but that was a week 1 take.
I mean, you give my team.
Why are we talking about NMB Sports when he's not even here?
I don't know. AOH really mad at that 3-0 JJ Redick
Nick,
take.
I'll give you credit, though. If you're going to give credit to JJ Redick and you say, like you just mentioned, essentially JJ Redick is really the only piece that they added to the team. That remember last year, they were saying they needed to they were actually saying to trade Anthony Davis last year. You had people saying that the LeBron James fans, they got to trade Anthony Davis. The dude's the best player on the team. What do you mean trade Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
Who do they trade then this year? When they're a bubble team, who are they going to trade?
They don't have Taurean Prince anymore.
Hey guys,
I think D'Lo's out of there.
Guys, I don't want to come in.
I'm surprised Russell hasn't been traded yet, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I think he's out of there.
They're trying to trade him. Guys, I don't want to come in and monopolize the stream here. Since I came in late and all, and I don't know if you mentioned this, but also a theme in last week that we discussed, kind of just in passing towards the end, was the Golden State Warriors. I just want to.
That's right.
I just want to reignite that conversation real quick. I'll just lay it out and let you guys. Just want to see what you guys have to say. So some things in the early NBA season are anomalistic, if you will, right? Like, so some things are subject to change, and maybe we take things too seriously too soon. Early reaction, hot takes. But I'll go ahead and let me submit this to you. I think that we can at least tell right now who are the good teams and who are the bad teams. So our goal is Golden State going to stay at a plus 18.7 point per game net differential and lead the NBA in that category like they are right now for the rest of the year? Obviously not. The all-time NBA record for net differential in an NBA season is like 12.1. So, of course, the Golden State Warriors aren't going to stay near 20. But I think we need to have a serious conversation about what the Warriors are doing this year. 5-1, plus 18.7. Steph Curry is the third leading scorer on that team. You have Buddy Hield and Andrew Wiggins running around out there, both 19 per game plus, 50% from the field, 50% from three. Golden State's going to be like a top 3 team in the West year long, in my estimation. And there's no excuse whatsoever for Steph Curry to be any short of a Western Conference Finals. Like, we need to start crediting Steve Kerr with what we're seeing now at this point. Like, it's ridiculous how much better Golden State is than expectation.
You think they're going to finish top 3 in the West?
Well, let me answer this real fast, Nick, because for one, I lagged out, so I didn't mean to interrupt you. It came in the middle of it.
No, it's okay.
So
it's your show, bro.
Yeah, but two, the aspect of it is that I caught the end of it before I lagged out, where Scat mentioned Steve Kerr, and it's the Steve Kerr system. It's the split action. It's a lot of great shooters, and you have Draymond facilitating it, and you have that defense that Draymond provides. Now, Steph being third on the team is not entirely surprising to me, and it's just how the system is run, where they go and they primarily monopolize on the 3-point shot. So you got Buddy Hield, who's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. You got Steph, of course, and then you've got the role players and other shooters around them that are going to be able to enable that system. So otherwise, they go and they get the easy layups. It's really just the more advanced 3-point shooting system that they have, and then the easy layups that they have on offense that really is pushing them there. And Steph is really the poster boy of the whole thing. However, yeah, I think if they're able to keep this up, now to the point of it, is it surprising? I think it is in ways because you had Klay Thompson there last year, and you had other pieces that were integral parts of their success in the past. However, I think it's proving to show that it's really more about the system because you put in these new young guys that are able to shoot and they're able to integrate themselves into that system. I think it's more about the system at this point, which is fine because that's the whole point. It's team success. Now, I'm not saying that Steph Curry is not special. He's obviously one of the greatest of all time, amongst other guys that were on those championship runs in the past. However, yeah, in ways I'm surprised, but if you really think about it, I'm not surprised really that much.
It's crazy
you
that
be surprised, Dart. You should.
it's
You
crazy
know why
that bench
you should be
players leading
surprised?
them in scoring.
Because Steph Curry's not even playing. You guys keep talking about Steph Curry. Steph Curry hasn't even played guys in like 4 games, man. What the hell are you guys talking about? Steph Curry's not even out there. You guys keep talking about the system. I'm not surprised. Steph Curry's not there. Number one, let's get that out of the way. Number two, the system. What the surprise is, the Warriors are one of the top defensive teams this year, guys. They're doing it on the defensive end. So all of those 3-point shooters, Buddy Hield and Andrew Wiggins, that's all fine and dandy. They're making some shots. They have a balanced attack. If you look at the Golden State Warriors, the reason that they're winning games is because they're holding teams at the second lowest field goal percentage in the NBA this season behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they're one of the best shooting teams in the league. So when you talk about that, that's why they're surprising. Steph Curry, the reason why I know this stuff is because Steph Curry's on my fantasy team, and the man ain't been there. So once again, what the Warriors are doing is very surprising. That's why I mentioned them at the beginning of the show, because what they're doing on the defensive end, is that going to be sustainable for an entire season? We don't know. But what they're doing is absolutely surprising because they're like 10 guys deep, 11 guys deep.
You get that cowboy hat from California?
You were so offensive. There were too many offensive people.
You look like you drive a conversion van. You should
Hell
get
yeah,
that off
brother.
right now.
When I'm on that interstate, brother, you can find me.
Real fast. You know what I think AOH does? I think
cowboy hat, bro.
He's either an actor that ironically lives in San Francisco versus Hollywood, or he's got to be a master of disguise.
It's just amazing how good I look no matter what I wear.
I was thinking about shaving real quick to get a stash, but I wasn't that committed.
Now, Scap and I had a little bit of a interesting back and forth last time about whose front office was more incompetent over the years, the Warriors or the Nuggets. And Scap had great points. The only thing I wanted to say is that what the Warriors need to do is very clear. And all the good things that you said about the Warriors so far this season isn't going to matter when they go up against the Lakers because Anthony Davis is just going to smash the shit out of them.
Well, but here's the thing. The same is true. Look, Phoenix is another team. Phoenix is 5-1 right now, but they're another team that just lack the substance inside to deal with Anthony Davis. So, like, that's another team that it really just doesn't matter. And ultimately, look, Oklahoma City is going to easily win the Western Conference. So, what are we really talking about? But my point about Golden State is, and it's by Sports France. Not only are they second in field goal percentage, they're also second in points allowed per game, too, second only to Oklahoma City. So you've got a team that is an elite defensive team. They have a great system, obviously, guys that are shooting well. But they have, I think, 13 guys averaging double-digit minutes right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's astonishing in the modern era of the NBA that you go that deep. There's guys in the NBA right now who play like 9 principal players, and that's it, 8, 9 guys. Like this team's going 12, 13. Now, that will shrink into the playoffs, obviously. You rely on young players less and less. You try to shorten the bench a little bit. But those elements, though, will make what they're doing in the regular season sustainable. So, like, I absolutely see Golden State finishing with a top 3 seed in conference. Absolutely.
No way. I got it. I'm going to say no on that one.
Top 3. Look, and Curry's barely even contributing right now. He's averaging 18 points per game, 40% shooting from the field in only 26 minutes a night. And they're 5-1 with the best differential in the NBA. Now, again, some of this is anomalistic, but they are leading the league. That's better than Oklahoma City. It's better than undefeated Cleveland. It's better than 6-1 Boston, who set the 5th highest net differential in NBA history a year ago. The Golden State Warriors are leading all of those teams. So
yeah, but their differential essentially comes from stomping the Jazz and the Trailblazers by like 40, 50 points.
Fair, but a lot of teams have played bad opponents early on in the season.
Yeah, remember though, they're playing these games without Curry too, man. Don't underestimate that. Like Scap is saying, all the guys, Gary Payton Jr. is out. I mean, excuse me, the third is out there doing his thing. Kuminga is a huge addition now. Looney coming off the bench. Like he said, they have like a 10, 11, 12 guys that are contributing to the games. And the one thing that we haven't mentioned that we got to think about when we're talking about the Golden State Warriors is the culture that they developed there over the years. When you talk about someone like a Steve Kerr, when you mention guys like Steph Curry, even a Draymond Green, who I can't stand, we're talking about a culture that's been there on the Warriors. So let's think about the Lakers. You brought the Lakers, AOH, and then how they're going to stomp the Warriors in the postseason. Yes, that may be so as far as Anthony Davis, a one-on-one matchup, but what do we always talk about with someone like LeBron James? We talk about his lack of ability to galvanize the players around him and to make the plays in the stretch, in the big moments. Steph Curry, to me, has been more of a clutch time performer than LeBron James has. He's been more consistently performing out there. So if it came down to a matchup in the postseason with the Lakers, with the Golden State Warriors, I wouldn't say that the Warriors would be the heavy favorite or that they are guaranteed to win. But those moments are going to sometimes determine these games. And the culture that the Warriors have there, that has a lot to do with these other guys performing and playing and having that confidence, man. When you talk about Andrew Wiggins, who, remember, LeBron James didn't even want to develop, did not want him when he was the number 1 pick years and years ago. But they were able to somehow win with an Andrew Wiggins who's not all there mentally as far as his, mental fortitude.
But you guys complimented what the Warriors were doing defensively. Postseason in a multi-game series, they're not going to be allowed to play defense against the Lakers. LeBron James alone is bigger than the entire Warriors roster. They will not be allowed to lock them up.
What's Looney? 6'7", 6'8"?
Golden State Warriors. They're one of the bottom teams in free throw attempts. So the Lakers are one of the top teams in free throw attempts, and the Golden State Warriors are one of the bottom teams. And the funny thing is, they shot up, I believe, 51 free throws last night, which is really unheard of for the Golden State Warriors. But ironically, Steph Curry hasn't been there. For some reason, with Steph Curry on the court, the Golden State Warriors never attempt more than 11, 12, 13 free throws a game. They're one of the bottom teams.
I think somebody's got background noise.
Yeah, something's going on here.
Why don't we talk about how the Philadelphia Sixers are pretty much, what are they doing?
What's Embiid doing, man? Like, he punching reporters because you don't like what they have to say.
Yeah, I just heard about that. I haven't seen it yet, though.
Let me speak on this, because being the Sixers fan here.
Yeah, you the Sixers fan.
The funniest thing he said, and if he knows the city, he would have never said this, is he said, "I've done too much for this city to be treated like this." Dog.
Man, they threw batteries at Santa Claus. Don't care about him.
Nobody cares, Embiid. It's about results.
Nope.
It's about results.
That's a bad answer, yeah.
No, and I'm not saying it's wrong to feel that way. I'm just saying in respect to being part of the Philadelphia sports center of all the major sports, nobody cares, Joel Embiid, what you've done. You've made it to the second round. You've gotten MVP. You've been a great player, and that's fine. But to say that what you've done, it's championship or nothing in regards to a Philly fan's eyes. So what you've done, well, exactly. What you've done is missed half your career. What you've done is flopped around in the second round and gotten us out of it. And he talks about playing through injuries. That's great. That's great in an individual standpoint. But as a Philly fan, speaking just for the fan base, nobody cares. Not one person cares that you played through injury. They care that you didn't get it done. Because
especially after this whole he's not playing back-to-back thing, too.
Nobody.
This was like days after that.
Outside of Dr. J, nobody else has did more for Philly than Allen Iverson. So, yeah, he was all the way out of line for that statement.
I had a quick question. You know how they started doing the back-to-backs with two teams play each other back-to-back? Wasn't that part of the bargaining agreement a few years ago, too, for back-to-backs to make it easier for the players? Like, isn't that something they gave them?
I don't know.
How would that be? Oh, is it because of traveling that it's easier?
Yeah, like the players say, hey, we don't want back-to-back, so they said, okay, well, we'll just keep you in the same city 2 nights in a row, so you don't have to.
Oh, that's interesting.
Can we get a zoom in on Hoops God's hair? What's happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I looking at?
Let's see.
Braids
There
going,
we
man.
go.
Got cleaned up.
Eddie got that shape up.
That's his hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's trying to disguise himself because of his ass Cowboys performance last Sunday.
See, I didn't get my hopes up, Scap. I told you. I said I'm going to keep my expectations below the ceiling, or below the basement. My apologies. So that way, I don't have that far to fall off. Now, my problem is you have guys who have expectations through the roof. So when we lose, guess what? That's a long fall, you know. But nah, guys, I was with my class. I enjoyed seeing them, man. It's been 20 years. Wow.
Was it a hair braiding class?
No. See, hold on. AOH, you inspired me, right? I had to be spiffy. I couldn't come out there just looking, you know.
Listen, Bo Derek, I love the seashells at the end. The seashell tips are.
I sincerely appreciate that.
A lot of you guys are on the attack tonight, or this morning.
Feeling good, man.
Like really, yeah.
I'm just astounded at how good I look no matter what I do.
And it always comes back to that for some reason.
You guys want to hear about how good I was in bed? I'll do a
no. So
Dart,
mute him, please.
I've got a recording ready to play.
Is the dog on the bed or off the bed? That's the only thing I want to know.
Gross.
It's a small dog, so it could work.
Dart, how long is Embiid supposed to be in Philly? How long is this contract for?
He just got re-upped in the summer, I think.
That's wild.
Wow.
That is insane.
If he plays out, you want to hear something wild. If he plays out the length of the contract which he just signed, I believe he's the 5th highest paid player in NBA history in terms of on-court earnings for a career, and he's barely 30. Like he's in the 500 he's in the 500 million club. LeBron James leads the way in that. Steph Curry second. Then Kevin Durant. Then, if you really want me to blow your mind, Paul George is number 4, and then Joel Embiid. So Philadelphia has made put 2 of these guys on that list, and neither of them can even get on the court. Neither of them have played yet this year. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. And then meanwhile, Maxey is like, of course, he's shooting like 35% from the field, but he's like 3rd or 4th in the NBA in scoring. Can Tyrese Maxey get some help out there in Philly, for God's sake?
For real.
I think Embiid's contract runs up next year, it looks like.
Real? I swear he was extended in the summer.
Maybe I'm missing something.
I don't remember, to be candid, but I know that I didn't think he got extended. I know that he did do an extension a few years ago, though. But I wasn't tracking that it happened this year. But yeah, if it did, I don't know.
There's a lot of bums that got paid in the summer, guys. Sorry, I might have confused him with one other bum like Jamal Murray. Sorry,
you're right.
Jamal Murray on my mind these days.
He signed a 3-year extension over the summer.
Denver looked better with Jamal out the other night, did they not?
Yeah, guys. Since I'm the Jokic guy on the panel. See, I became known on YouTube as the LeBron hater. Now I'm shifting. Boy, but let me. I have to make an admission here. Let me get this off my chest. I actually did not like Jokic when he was winning his early MVPs. I actually was championing him as like a joke because I hate advanced analytics so much. I think that advanced analytics and like that way of measuring players is such a joke, and it's so appalling that Jokic is this like advanced metric superstar. So I thought it'd be funny that since this dude, this chubby, unathletic, slow white dude was lighting this super athlete era on fire and like is the most the best advanced player in NBA history, basically. I thought it'd be funny for me to talk him up basically, as a way to destroy these scrub super athletes today. But a funny thing happened along the way of me just like using Jokic basically as a punchline. I became a huge fan of this guy. I watched basically every game he plays, regular season and playoffs. The guy is such a unique player, but I just want to put this one stat on you because, yes, I'm a stat guy too. So on-off is something that I watch all year long for years now. On-off, not plus minus, on-off measures the impact of a player per 100 possessions on the court and off of it. So I think that's a good estimate of overall value. Just to put some context on the number I'm going to give you, the highest on-off number, the best one this century, so 1999 to today, was Kobe Bryant in 2005-2006. He was 19.1 plus. So on the court, he was a plus 19.2. So he added 19 points per 100 possessions. They were the best rated offense in the league with them on, the worst with them off. LeBron James' highest on-off ever of his career was 15. Steph Curry's unanimous MVP season, his on-off was 14. Jokic the last 2 seasons was at around 18. Right now, through 6 games, Nikola Jokic is plus 40. He's adding 40 points per possession, per 100 possessions that he's on the court. Like, this is easily his greatest season. He's not going to remotely sniff MVP. It's his greatest season yet. He is by far substantially clearing away the most valuable player of the NBA this season. If they win 42 games, he should be a unanimous MVP, and he's probably going to finish 4th or 5th, like Kobe in 05 and 06. One of the biggest atrocities in sports history.
Is that the year Garnett won it?
No, that's the year Steve Nash won it.
Nash won it, yeah.
Steve Nash.
Scott, do you remember who number 2 was on that list?
Number 2 that
After
year
Jokic?
in 05, 06?
No, for this season, for Jokic at a plus 40.
Well, I could tell you Shea, who is going to probably win the MVP, which I have nothing against Shea. He is plus 9 right now. To put that number in context. If you want me to keep contextualizing.
All right.
In the Matrix.
Questions to the Lakers right now. Got Luka's around 1. He adds like 1 or 2 points per 100%. Nikola Jokic is averaging 40 points per 100 possessions. This team is like an 8-win team without him. It's ludicrous how valuable this dude is. He's averaging a 30-point triple-double right now on 57, 57, 74 splits. He's shooting 57% from the three-point line right now. Okay, I just needed to infuse some Jokic commentary from the Jokic fanboy of the panel.
See, this is the thing, man. When we talk about the stats, man, that we were alluding to before, I said earlier, when we're talking about statistics and you're talking about these analytical numbers, and we're bringing up guys from this current era, the numbers are not going to be relevant when we're comparing them to previous players or previous eras or any of these other guys previously. And even when we're comparing numbers as far as winning and how it relates, when we're talking about making the players around you better, once again, these numbers that we're talking about, when Nikola Jokic is off the floor, he's not making his players better. He's not helping them out. But when he's on the court, once again, I mentioned Giannis earlier. Giannis is number 2 in the league in scoring. He's one of the top rebounders in the league. He's averaging over 6 assists a game. But why are the Bucks struggling? Just like the Denver Nuggets seem to be struggling. Is it the town around him? Is it the guys, he's playing with a bunch of bums, he doesn't have enough help? Yeah, it might be some of that same thing as it was with Nikola Jokic. But it's also that Giannis is not having the same impact defensively. He's not having that same impact on the court. It's not impacted winning. This is what we're alluding to. Kyrie Irving's a great scorer. He can score in a myriad of different ways, but he was never really impacting winning. Luka Doncic puts up all these numbers. Trae Young puts up all kinds of. He's got more 40-point double-doubles than most guys since he's been in the league. But it's not impacting the winning, really. Why? Because these guys are not doing other things on the court. Maybe their leadership is lacking. I'm not saying that Nikola Jokic is lacking leadership, but when you mention someone like Kobe Bryant, when you mention leadership and you talk about the impact on or off the court, when we talk about these great players, we're comparing them to the other great players. That's the impact that these guys have that you can't measure in statistics, man. Nikola Jokic doesn't impact the game defensively like some of the other guys of the past that were able to do these things. So he's not impacting the winning for his team. And yes, Jamal Murray hasn't been great, and other guys have been inconsistent. Absolutely.
If you take Jason Tatum off of the Celtics and put Nikola Jokic on the Celtics with Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown, the Celtics would win 70-plus games for the next 3 years and the championship every single season.
I want to push back a little bit because
that's a hypothetical scenario. I'm not guaranteeing that. No way.
Here's the thing. Sports and rants real quick. The sports and rants real quick. No one is harder on all-time greats. No one is harder on people that don't impact winning. No one is more anti-statistics than me. Like as you should know, like I attack and I go at these guys. Nikola Jokic, when we say certain people don't have any help, like we have to look at this in a vacuum. I attack LeBron James, but he's not the same as Nikola Jokic because Nikola Jokic actually needs help. I think very highly of Hakeem Olajuwon, and I know you do too. Hakeem is probably as high as top 5 on my list. Look, that dude lost in the first round more times than he advanced into the second round throughout his entire NBA career. He won 2 championships only in 15 years. I don't hear you denigrating Hakeem Olajuwon and talking shit on him because his teams stunk. His teams were absolutely lousy. He didn't have the players. He shouldn't have won. If Nikola Jokic ends with...
I dump on him.
If Nikola Jokic ends with 2 championships, he's probably top 10 all time.
Oh, absolutely not. Listen.
No. I don't know.
Hold on. Let me go real quick. Let me just say this real quick.
Hakeem is not a top 10 all time either. But
listen,
anyway.
what you're missing here, Scap, in this entire thing here is, once again, you're underestimating Hakeem Olajuwon's competition, the great players and teams he was actually going against. Let's think about Nikola Jokic here. I'm still waiting for him to beat a great team in the postseason en route to a championship. When you mention Hakeem Olajuwon, the reason why his runs were so impressive is because he's an underdog going against 50-win teams that are much greater than his team was. The Denver Nuggets, who did they face in the championship? He beat the number 8 seed Miami Heat. Are we really? See, I saw one of your videos, and you mentioned the help that other players have. And yes, absolutely, Nikola Jokic historically does not have the help of some of the other great players. But when you mentioned Larry Bird, who had all this help, and you mentioned in your video, he needed all that help because the teams he was going against were also stacked with Hall of Fame talent. It wasn't Larry Bird going against Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. So essentially, the teams that Nikola Jokic beat were on par with his team itself. So once again, it's not the same as Hakeem Olajuwon going against these other great teams. You mentioned him losing more often in the beginning of his career. That highlights the great teams he's going against. Look how many great teams that were in the 90s conference that Hakeem Olajuwon was going in the Western Conference. It's not the same with the teams that Nikola Jokic beat en route to his first championship. No one's taking away from Nikola Jokic. But we're talking about the overall impact of your game. I talk about leadership. I talk about defensive end. All of those things have to be included in this. When Nikola Jokic is impacting the game or not impacting the game, that goes to other areas of the game. It's not just he didn't have enough help, so he didn't get done because he put these numbers up. The numbers are completely inflated, like we all know. So the numbers are not impacting the game as they once would. If he was averaging these numbers in the early 2000s, wouldn't they mean a lot more than they are today? They absolutely would.
Nikola Jokic beat in the Western Conference to get into the finals. Beat the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round with Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. 2 perennial All-Stars. In the second round,
who did he beat a championship, Scott?
Wait, hang on. Hey, can I finish? I let you finish. In the second round, he beat Kevin Durant and Booker, 2 perennial All-Stars. 2 guys who were all NBA last year. In the third round, he beat LeBron James, the alleged GOAT, and Anthony Davis in the third round. He beat who he beat in the finals, but he had to get to the finals first, and he beat all those teams to get into the finals.
How many wins did any of those teams have? How many wins did they have?
Hey, Dart, mom and dad are fighting.
Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, who's never led a team anywhere?
Where do you have Magic Johnson?
You shit on every day?
Where do you have Magic Johnson all time?
Come on,
yeah,
man.
Where
do you have Magic Johnson?
Where do you have him?
I want to go against the grain here. I want to say that. I want to say that. I'm going to go against the grain for both your arguments, so both of you can come at me instead. Is that Hakeem's not a top 10, Jokic isn't a top 10. All this, I'm not a big to what you're saying, Scap. All the things that you're talking about, these on-off, all these advanced stats, I'm not a fan of either of them. And I think Hakeem's run is wildly overrated in respect to his entire career. That the one playoff run, that's great, where he won the championship. But outside of that, great player, but he is not top 10. Jokic is not top 10. They haven't done enough, either of them. Tell me how am I wrong when you got guys like George Mikan, you got guys like Bob Cousy that have just went. You got George Mikan who won 5 NBA championships, 3 scoring titles, 2 rebounding titles. You got Bob Cousy's won 6 championships. He's 3rd all time for all NBA first teams. He won an MVP. He won 8 assist titles in a row. How are Hakeem and Jokic above these guys? I don't understand.
Well, Bill Russell is in my top 10, but I think it's difficult to quantify pre-merger and post-merger. Different generations, different eras. I think post-merger is very difficult. Like, so what I'm saying is, not the ABA and the NBA merged in 1976 to create the modern era of NBA basketball from 1976 on. If you predate that merger, it's very difficult to quantify what some of the guys did back then. I mean, there were legitimately Bill Russell, when he won his first NBA championship, there were 8 teams in the NBA. When he won his final NBA championship, I believe there were 14. So, I mean, it's just, you could say that maybe the talent level was higher per team, obviously, with fewer teams. That's an argument. But there's also an argument to say there's a lot less talent around these guys. Like Bill Russell played with anywhere between 6 to 8 Hall of Famers on every single championship team he was on. I mean, it's just difficult to compare pre and post merger. So while I think Bill Russell did enough to establish himself in the context of a top 10 in any rating, in any metrics, it's hard to intermix all the other guys throughout that era into guys post 76.
Can we hear from Stevie Wonder, please? He's been very quiet.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So I'm just kidding.
Hey, so I myself, I have Bill Russell, Hakeem. I got all those guys in my top 6. Because I don't know, that top 5, it's just kind of like, man, one day I got this guy, the next day. So I just say they're all interchangeable. But what I will say in Hakeem's defense, like Sports and Fitness said, if you look at his degree of difficulty using that SRS strength schedule, well, he has the highest in a championship run at, I think at about I think it's like a .70 clip, if I'm not mistaken. I could have those numbers off, but I know he has the highest. And then Kobe's 2nd, right? Michael Jordan's 3rd. So I have to factor that into the equation, because if you play in a relatively weaker conference, like, okay, I'll use Magic. I'm high on Magic, but Magic didn't really face stiff competition until he got to the Western Conference Finals, and then of course in the
finals.
Right. Now, I will say this. If you play in a relatively weak conference, but you have a winning record, then I'll say, okay, hey, you got to, whoever they put in front of you, that's, you play who you play, okay, you win. But if you have a cakewalk to get to the finals and then you get there and you just get annihilated, no, I have to devalue what you're doing, because what I'm looking at, right, just from the outside looking in, if you're playing in the JV conference, I'm going to use that analogy, and then you go up against the big boys, and then they humble you like the big boys do, then no, I cannot put you up there with these other guys. Prime example, Hakeem Olajuwon. His second best player was Vernon Maxwell. I would say second leading scorer was Vernon Maxwell.
Otis Thorpe.
Shooting sub 40 from the field, okay, in the entire playoff run, including the finals. That's what I call carry, right? Then I look at Kobe. Kobe has multiple championships, scoring, averaging 10 more points than his second best player. So does Michael Jordan, and so does Tim Duncan, and Hakeem Olajuwon. So that's showing me the magnitude of what they're doing when the team needs you to step up, just like Bill Russell. That's what I'm going to segue into. So I was doing some research, and I noticed that whenever Sam Jones, Havlicek, and Tom Heinsohn would miss significant minutes or whatever, I'm just using the guys that normally get brought up. Well, the Celtics were still above 500, right? But when Bill Russell didn't play, prime example, 1962, they went 0-4 in that consecutive game span, did not win a game. And then in 1969, if I'm not mistaken, He missed 5 consecutive games. They did not win. And not only that, but in the entire time that he didn't play, they were under 500. So now I'm seeing the impact of the player when he's not there. So I have to take that into the equation as well. Like, okay, so if you're not on the floor and now your team is struggling like noticeably, then I have to factor that into the equation. So I'm high on Jokic. You know, some people are saying, hey, he didn't beat anybody, but I'm like, okay, I will take that championship run over that vacuum 2020 exhibition tournament any day. And not only that, who did Jokic have as an all-star that year or a top 75 or anything like that? Because we don't really
Nobody. He's never played with an all-star ever in 10 years. This is his 10th year in the NBA. He has never played with a single all-star ever.
So that's what I'm taking into the equation, right? I'm seeing guys who are staying with the franchise, allowing them to build them up to championship caliber versus guys who jump ship and then go link up with another guy. And then, okay, if you win, okay, cool. But it's not consistent. It's like, no, it's like you win this championship, but then you can't, it's like it's not a continuous thing. Because I mean, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. We've only had 2 3-peats since 1976.
Well, three. Jordan twice and Kobe.
There's 3, yeah.
There's 3.
So my thing is, if we seen the blueprint for 3-peating and nobody else can do it, it's like, okay, well, these guys to me are at a different standard. And if you want to throw in the Bill Russell and George Mikan, I'll put them up there too. Because when I see this, when I see a team that can successfully defend their title not once but twice, no, I got to put you up there. Like that to me, that's just a whole different level.
Let's be clear here. Jamal Murray has hit more game winners in his postseason career than Scottie Pippen's ever dreamt of. So we got to be careful and tiptoe around this. He never played with an all-star or a top 75 guy, man. Jamal Murray came through many times for the Denver Nuggets in his career. Has he been frail? Has he been great? Yeah, he's been frail. But the man has hit many big shots. In that 220 bubble championship, they beat the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Lakers, en route to that championship. And Dwight Howard was having his way with Nikola Jokic, man.
Guys, Jamal Murray is utter trash. The fact that right now, Jamal Murray's making $50 million a year.
I'm so fucking drunk for this.
Michael Porter Jr. is making $36 million a year. You want to know what those two guys are combining for right now in the NBA today through 6 games? 32 points per game on 11 of 29 per night. That is 32 points on 29 shots a night. And they don't defend. Neither of them defend. And let me say, I have talked my fair share of shit on Scottie Pippen too. Get the hell out of here with comparing. Scottie Pippen is one of probably the 10 best perimeter defenders ever. All right, if Jamal Murray was at least doing that, then I wouldn't have to bemoan his bummishness on the other side.
Where are they without the game winners? You just said they made a run. That
so
run
what?
they made against the Lakers, he had a
Robert Horry made game winner.
He had a game winner against the Lakers.
Is Robert Horry an elite player?
Come on, man. I'm not saying he's greater than Scottie Pippen, Cap. Don't get carried away here, man. What I'm saying is that you're acting as if Jamal Murray's done nothing for Nikola Jokic. He's contributed.
My dog doesn't like when I get fired up. Sorry.
Scap. Good, man. I'm rubbing off on you.
Scap, is Jim Rome your idol? I just want to know that.
Jim Rome. So I have 3 idols. I have 3 heroes in life. Okay. Tom Cruise, Kobe Bryant, and Jim Rome. So yes, he is one of my 3 idols. Yes.
I could tell you. Especially when you're like, it's ass. Reminds me of Jim Rome every time you do it.
I love Norm Macdonald.
Jamal Murray was good. Jamal Murray's very good in 2023.
Back to the action.
Jamal Murray was an elite player in the playoffs in 2023. And what happened? Jokic easily won the championship. He easily won. They won 16-3, and he averaged a 30-point triple-double. He was the first player in NBA history to that point, Nikola Jokic in 2023, to lead the postseason in points, rebounds, and assists. He would have done it again last year if they went into the finals. He needs a viable, reliable second player.
Yeah, there you go, Dart. Steal a signal.
I think that Hakeem Olajuwon and Jokic have done well because they both were able to sit up and stand up 15 times every time between the half court I'm just saying I'm trying to make up a fake statistic off the fly. Very, very bad joke. Really bad delivery. But the point of it is that what was said before, I'm not a huge fan of these advanced statistics, these numbers that people put in and try to bring value to. I understand. I'm not saying there's no value to a lot of these things. However, the results at the end of the day is what matters to me specifically. So when you say that Hakeem had the strongest strength of schedule to win that championship, to me, it all comes down to a championship. It doesn't matter if it was a hard championship. If he went above and beyond what you would think would have happened, to me, it all comes down to one championship. And I think that's the easiest way, because Scap was talking about comparing a pre-merger, post-merger. I think it just comes down to that. Otherwise, the results are generally, there is some variance of how they're accounted for over time. But generally speaking, the title is the same. If you got a scoring title, it means that you won a scoring title. There's two ways they measure that over time. They have the championship. There's only one way you measure that over time. And then you have these awards, however you want to categorize them, of what you find important. They've been accounted for similarly over time. So for me to look at it, it's about results. So if you go and you look at the MVPs, if you think that's more valuable than championship, and then let alone other awards, or if you look at raw stats, then I think that you would find that Jokic may be greater than Hakeem. Now, if you look at the dominance aspect of it, I don't think that it's really a question that Hakeem is a greater player over time than Jokic. What I'm getting at is that I find it funny with a lot of these advanced stats. So I did a very poor delivery.
Real quick, and I gotta go find a phone charger. I'm not sure my phone's gonna die in a minute, but this is my problem with counting stats or counting championships and saying, oh well, it's the results. When LeBron James could win nothing for 7 years, enjoying Dwayne Wade because he couldn't win shit. A lot on the rosters in Cleveland. I'm not trying to say that he had like super team or viable championship contending teams in Cleveland, but there's levels to what he did and the amount of help that he took. He went and joined Dwayne Wade, who the year prior, before they joined, Dwayne Wade finished second in BPM, second in value over replacement, like third in win share. Like he was top 5 in MVP. Like if you look at the guy this year, the last season that was most comparable to Dwayne Wade. Hold on. If you look at the guy in today's version of the NBA that was most similar to what Dwayne Wade did in that 2009 season, it was Luka Doncic. And look, part of his thing was, well, I'm close friends with Dwayne Wade and it would be fun to play with him. Jokic and Doncic are close friends. It would be fun for them to play. Like if Jokic was like, hell with it, I don't have enough help, I'm gonna go join Luka Doncic, and so what? Then he wins 4 or 5 championships. What does it matter then? Like what do those championships really mean? That's the problem with just looking at the outcome or the results and looking at the rings. Like, so what? Like Jokic, 1 or 2 rings with this current team will mean more than 5 if he went and played with Luka Doncic.
I agree that it's corny. I'll say that much. I agree that there's a corniness aspect of winning the championships and that LeBron has been extra corny in comparison to other all-time greats. I absolutely agree. There's definitely an appeal to the championships that Hakeem has won or Michael Jordan has won or others have won. But I agree with you in respect to the appeal of it. Yeah, it's corny, man. I agree. Yeah.
And that's my problem with this whole era. You could count rings before because rings meant something before. They were difficult. They were hard to attain. Now today, it's like an arms race. Like what team can I go to and how many superstars can I stack up around myself to get to these like ring counts to put myself with all-time great players? Like it cheapens it. Like how many rings, if Kevin Durant never left Oklahoma City and if LeBron James never left Cleveland, would they have any rings at all? I don't know that they would. Like, we can't say definitively.
What does Boston's ring mean?
No,
how heavy is Boston's ring?
Well, they beat the Mavs, so it's probably like a top 5 ring all time, I would say.
It just seems like nobody cared last year. like at all, about them
but
winning one.
See, and this is when you expose Nikola Jokic, Scap. This is what we're talking about. Nikola Jokic himself, in fact, Luka Doncic, Giannis, these foreign players, what have they been saying over the last 4 or 5 years? How easy the NBA is in relation to the EuroLeague. When Hakeem Olajuwon was playing, the guy you mentioned, they never said that stuff, Scap. It was, in fact, the complete opposite. All the European players were looked at as soft and floppers, and it was the Americans that were known as tough and gritty and hard-nosed. So that's what I'm talking about when I say when Hakeem played, he battled against legit big men down low. He wasn't going against Rudy Gobert and, Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns and some of these weirdos out here. He was going against legit centers, man. Nikola Jokic and these guys, in fact, say that all the time. The NBA is soft, man. It's weak. So you're dominating a weak league that no one's impressed with.
Yes, but Jokic has like the 8th or 9th best roster in the NBA. Like
Once again, Scap, stop making it about the help. We're talking about what Nikola Jokic says about the overall league. The overall league. We know Jamal Murray's inconsistent. We know Michael Porter Jr. is inconsistent. We know Aaron Gordon is inconsistent. We know that. We know. But the league itself is not the same. So you can't compare Hakeem Olajuwon to Nikola Jokic and the impact that Hakeem had on both sides of the ball, mind you. Listen, leadership also goes on the defensive end. Remember that.
Hey, my top 10 list, which I've been working on this video for like a year and a half. It's going to be like a half an hour long. My top like 6 or 7 are all elite, all-time two-way players.
No, Scap, I respect your knowledge, Scap.
What's that?
I respect your knowledge, man. I'm not saying that your lists are bad or you don't. That's what
right.
I'm not. Listen, man, me and you is cool, Scap. I ain't got no problem with you, man. You know the game, man.
I hear you. But so yeah, I mean, I look like the tail end of my list are more of the. I mean, Magic Johnson's the guy I brought up earlier. Like that guy didn't defend at a high level, and quite frankly, he played. If you look at the SRS, he had 4 of the weakest 5 championship runs in league history were Magic Johnson's. The Western Conference he played in was garbage, and he had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and James Worthy on those teams. Like, I mean, pretty alarming when you look at now. Magic, he revolutionized the game. He revolutionized the position. He has the highest assists per game average. I have no problem with Magic Johnson as a top 10 all-time player. But like when you really dig into what he did against the competition at the time and the help, the assist, the supporting cast he had, like he's the guy that I kind of question from time to time.
All right, listen, the Magic Johnson stuff, we had to slow down here on Magic Johnson. Don't get me started on Magic Johnson right now, guys. Hold up. Listen, when we talk about Magic Johnson and we're talking about the championship games, yes, you could say that maybe some of the runs to the finals, they weren't as impressive as far as the teams that they beat compared to his team and the talent he had with him. But when you're talking about the teams that the Los Angeles Lakers played in the championship, the finals, it's hard. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a difficult bunch of teams when you're talking about the Detroit Pistons and the Celtics and you're talking about the Sixers. You're talking about some of the great teams, man. I mean, the competition in the finals is stiff, so that's what I'm talking about. And let's not forget, when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retired, the Lakers still went to the championship without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, led by Magic Johnson.
All right, let's get some of these other guys in while I look for a phone charge.
No, please continue.
Guys.
We got to talk about consequences. The original topic, talking about this new season. All these people, Joel Embiid doesn't play, gets paid. He assaults somebody, doesn't go to jail, betrays France, and United States cheers for him to be on their team. Yeah, I mean, look at
Jackson Hayes.
I keep thinking Jackson Hayes
beat the shit out of that woman.
Don't forget the foul baiting against Cooper Flagg in the pickup game. That's my favorite Embiid moment.
Crazy thing
Cooper
is
Flagg's going to come in, make some
Jackson
difference.
Hayes is a nobody.
Isn't he? He's the Lakers' backup center though, isn't he?
Right. He's more of somebody now. When did he beat that woman?
3 years ago.
Before.
Well, they're reopening the investigation now. They're not suspending him or anything, even though it's on video.
Yeah, he
got tased by the cops too.
It's like an environmental study. We need to do another 10 years of looking at the damaging effects before you can determine whether or not that woman was actually hurt.
So how much soil have you collected over your time?
There isn't any left. What are you talking about?
He is the soil.
There's all this chemical shit falling out of the sky, if you want to call it soil. Don't put it in your garden.
Oh, all the chemtrails that all the planes put out.
Oh man, I ran into somebody out. He was going off on the chemtrail.
We are derailing.
So, hey, not enough LeBron hate on here today. Let me fix that. So,
Go ahead, Scab, get it.
Not the shit on Jokic, but I got to tell you, the Nuggets might not have made it as far as they did if LeBron James hadn't tried to have the ball in his hands at the end of those playoff games. I mean, LeBron James literally fucked that up for the Lakers 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad I could be of help.
This is true.
There's a lot of animosity in the chat. Like, and I'm first of all, I didn't know there was that much Steph Curry hate. When we started tonight, there was a bunch of that in the chat. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Second of all, it's like, yeah, it's getting heated over there. I can't even tell. I think it's a bunch of Duncan talk. Duncan and Jokic.
Hey,
also, I'm taking Shaq over Jokic every time, I think.
No,
I am.
Spain, they're getting Steph Curry hate because he's threatening their king. See, if Steph Curry gets 5 championships in LeBron's era, what does that say about him?
It's Curry's era then.
It's still Curry's era. I mean, LeBron's era was nestled in between Curry's era and Kobe's era. It was
I agree.
It was arguably a 3 championship run. That was LeBron's era from 2011 to 2016. That's a 5-year window. And that's an argument. Otherwise, he has not been the most dominant player his entire career. And I'm not saying Michael Jordan was in respect to winning the championships, but his length of his career was different in respect to the length of it. So when you have a 22
JJ's here.
Don't you dare. That's my joke. For the record, that's my joke, and I can prove it. Damn it.
So quick question.
No, he's Van Damme. That's Van Damme. Big dick.
How difficult?
He does look like Van Damme.
How difficult is it to just
or horse dick?
Would you guys?
Van Damme horse dick.
Guys, please keep going.
VDHD. Put that underneath. Put that as your name. That VDHD.
That guy was weird the other week.
You mean Scap's other channel?
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm sorry to interrupt. You guys were talking Steph Curry. That's another favorite topic of mine. What were you saying?
I was saying when we first started, there was a lot of Steph hate talking about, if he played in so and so era and all that. It's I don't know. I don't even know where it stems from, but Hoops God was it's breaking it down for me.
No. So they're playing time machine basketball to quote Dart. So that's what they're doing now with Steph.
Oh, they've been doing that.
Oh wow, they are really threatened by 6'3" light skin shooting. It's like the greatest shooter of all time. Wow.
I mean, listen. Go ahead, Scap. Go ahead.
Your audio's shit.
Hey, Scap, you underwater, bro?
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I mean, we could probably still make it out.
You probably put your finger over it. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Let me overdub. Kobe.
Okay.
Kobe.
No, it's not what I'm saying.
SRS, PCP.
The past look of 2010 until I would say 2020 was when Giannis and Jokic took over, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and then 2010-ish is when Kobe declined. So we'll say from 2010 to 2020, right? The guys, look, whether you love these players, hate these players, talk shit on these players, praise them, I would say the 3 best players from a historical standpoint of that decade span were LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. So in that time frame, LeBron James played with like 3 different teams, two different teams with 2 perennial all-stars on each, and all-time historical great Dwayne Wade. and then Durant and Curry teamed up together. Like that, think about that. Like the three best historical players in that time frame, that's what it was. So like why do we all dislike those players? Because of that. Like they cheapened, they diminished what winning meant in the NBA. And now I think some of my hate for Curry, to bring it full circle and connect the dots here, some of my disdain for Curry is that, like, bro, you were the unanimous league MVP. You choked your ass off in the finals. You blew.
Oh, keep that freeze frame. Someone grab that.
Do you go to the gym? Do you focus in and say, this is my revenge tour season. It's my time to come back and answer all these doubters to get better. It's time for me to get on a plane, fly cross country, and beg Kevin and grovel to Kevin Durant to come join and steal me 2 cheap garbage titles. I see this and it just still rubs me the wrong way, I think, with him.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that take, Scap. That's part of my problem with Steph Curry. That's why I will never have Steph Curry in my top 10. He's not worthy enough to be in the top 10 conversation with those guys, skill-wise, accolades-wise, numbers and talent. Yeah, Steph Curry's an absolutely great player, man. No doubt about it, man. But when we talk about, like you said, that to me goes to the lack of intangibles, the leadership of Steph Curry, man. There's no leadership from you from doing that. That's not an honorable move to me. There's no honor in Steph Curry going and asking Kevin Durant, essentially, like you said, to come join him. And there's no honor what all three of those guys have done in their careers. And for me, if I had to pick one of those three guys to represent that era, let's say the 2010s era, I'm going to have to go with Steph Curry, man. I'm just going to have to go with Steph Curry because, once again, to me, LeBron James may be the face of the NBA over those years. Absolutely. Most people would probably say LeBron James. But for me personally, the things that I think about, the class, the honor, the playing with that love of the game, I don't really see that from LeBron James. When we talk about the overall games, who do you want to watch? I would rather watch Steph Curry than LeBron James. And when we talk about impacting the players around you, to me, Steph Curry did more with less than LeBron James has. If we can exclude those 2 rings, he still won 2 rings without a quote-unquote super team. We're still waiting for LeBron James to win 1. And Kevin Durant, what has he done? Like you said, he's never really led a team to the promised land.
I'm pretty sure I know where Scap's coming from. He's just upset that when Curry super team built, it worked, whereas Kobe's super team building didn't always work. Let's add a prime Dwight Howard and a Steve Nash coming off of an MVP season to go along with a Pau Gasol and a Meta World Peace. And
here we go.
Just wasn't enough.
Let
you
me
got to
know
forget about all the super team building the Lakers tried to do.
Let me know when I'll tell you what. Let me know when you're finished, and I'll retort.
Fine, I'll add one more thing. At least Steph Curry stayed put and lived through the hard times and the good times. Every time things weren't exactly prime for LeBron, he fled ship to go jump onto another ridiculously stacked opportunity. Now, the difference between Steph and LeBron is that LeBron would have found a way to fuck up teaming up with Kevin Durant and still not won.
Yes.
Real fast, we have another potential partner. We have compared dental insurance, and now we have vacation wealth partners.
All right.
Maybe they'll become members of the channel.
Nice.
I got to go get a beer for this next part because of Hoops God. I got off the wagon and he's asking what I'm drinking this morning. And he's got me back.
Yeah, something like an
I need
hour
a
and a
beer
half
for whatever
ago.
you're going to say.
AOH, you can't leave. I need to destroy your super team comment.
Well, I'll be back in. Just give me 2 minutes so I can have a beer to wash down the shit you're going to feed me.
Fair.
It's a great episode today, man. It's great. It's great, man.
I'm kind of mad no one else came in a costume though.
Some people
can't
would
keep up
say
with you guys, man.
Some of my haters would always say I come in a clown costume. So I'm surprised you didn't mirror AOH back when he went back to Afro AOH.
Oh, there we go. The bit was over. I did what I needed to
the bit.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
You're gonna see AOH come in and fall on his chair, fall through the chair. His wig's gonna fly off.
What do you guys think he looks like under the wig? Bald?
He's ugly. I've seen him.
I've seen him too.
He's ugly. He's an ugly individual.
He's
inside and out.
I've seen him also on accident without it.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I'm not
believe it or not, he looks very similar.
I'm no VDHD, but I try.
Horse dick. I never heard that before.
Did you crack your beer, bro? What do you think? Cool. So sit back, take a sip, and let me educate you, Playboy.
Oh, fuck.
So Kobe's two super teams, alleged super teams,
two
alleged consisted of 40-year-old
2 decades.
Malone.
You mean 2 decades of super teams?
Hang on. Consisted of 40-year-old Karl Malone and 35-year-old Gary Payton. And in the finals that they lost to, which is still a cataclysmic choke job for them to lose that final. But the third leading scorer in that final series, 5-game final series, was Derek Fisher at like 7 points per game on 30% shooting. Man, that was super. Okay,
hey,
let's
Derek
hold on.
Fisher,
let's fast forward to your
Derek
Dwight
Fisher
Howard
has to
super
be
team.
good because the Warriors went out and got him after that.
Let's fast forward to your 2012 super team. That was 39-year-old Steve Nash, who missed 35 games that season. It was.
That's why I'm saying they tried. It just didn't work.
Hold on. It was declining Pau Gasol, who missed like 36 games that season, and then it was Dwight Howard off of a back surgery in the summer, which he himself to this date will tell you he was a shell of himself in that first season after that surgery. Hold on. And it was Kobe Bryant at 34 in his age 17 season. He finished second in the NBA in scoring that year by a decimal point behind Kevin Durant. He led the league in points scored, and he scored more points and averaged more points per game than that year's league MVP LeBron James at the age of 26 for LeBron, 27 for LeBron. That's what Kobe did that season to drag that team into the playoffs. Oh, and ruptured his Achilles and ended his career because he pushed himself playing 47 minutes a night for the last 8 games in a row to end the season at 30 in his 17th season. Some super team that was.
So it didn't work out. That's what I said. They tried. It didn't work out.
My favorite Kobe moment was getting swept in 2011.
Hey, do you think that Karl Malone and Gary Payton didn't look good in 2004? Because they were fucking balling.
Were they? Was Karl Malone balling in the finals?
When Karl Malone got hurt, it changed everything for the Lakers. So that tells you that he was doing something.
Because they had no depth whatsoever. They had no sufficient role players to support them. That's why. Slava Medvedenko came in and was the starting four for the remainder of that final series.
Slava Medvedenko name drop. We have officially gone down the rabbit hole.
What about Mark Madsen?
When are you cutting this thing? When Dart? Yeah, after Medvedenko. Come on.
So it sounds like two examples of a super team not working out, and if they'd had Kevin Durant instead of Kobe Bryant, it might have worked out.
Listen, the only super team, man, don't forget, they turned down the Lakers super team of Chris Paul. If that trade would have happened, then maybe you can make an argument that that's a super team that they put together because of the point in time of Chris Paul where he was at in his career. I mean, listen, we don't talk about Chris Paul much, but quiet as kept, the man's damn near 40 years old and still out there playing and dropping dimes and doing his thing. I'm not a huge Chris Paul guy, but the man's been around and has been durable, except when it matters most in his career.
Yeah.
Do y'all find that some of those older players, remember also Barkley and Pippen trying to go to the Rockets? I've always kind of thought that those guys kind of put their foot in the door in terms of making the eventual, like an actual super team, people in their primes joining up.
No,
you don't think so? I feel like they kind of made it acceptable.
No, because when we talk about players back in them days, that's right, zoom in on me. Go ahead, zoom in, I don't care. when you're talking about those guys, when we talk about quote-unquote ring chasing back in those days, guys ring chase at the tail ends of their careers when they were in their last 2, maybe 3 years left in their careers. When you mentioned Karl Malone, the Lakers, Karl Malone that guy was 40 years old, man. And Karl Malone kept himself in great shape. Don't get me wrong, he was still a very quality player at that age because of the way he trained and took care of himself. But these were the last years of his career. We talk about Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley, these guys that when they teamed up on the Rockets and you had those guys, Hakeem Olajuwon was done, man. Scottie Pippen wasn't really there. When we talk about guys now, they're abusing it by teaming up at the peaks of their careers. So essentially, this would have been Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan teaming up in the late 80s to beat the Detroit Pistons. That's that would have been. Or it would have been like Patrick Ewing and somebody teaming up to beat or Reggie Miller teaming up to beat Michael Jordan.
I get that they were old guys, and not only were they old guys who had never won, right? So I understand it was different, but I just feel like they kind of put it in the ether, that. And then, of course, you have, in my opinion, kind of the evolution of salary cap where the teams really had so much influence before there wasn't a hard salary cap in the 90s. 90s, it kind of flattens out. And then I think you have this kind of horseshoe where then the players start gaming the salary cap to, like we say, make super teams, etc.
Those guys were hungry. They may have been old, but they were still playing well and they were hungry. They brought experience.
They wanted it.
Consistency. That hunger, you add to that. Holy shit. They also had Horace Grant and Brian Russell. Brian Russell probably wanted a ring.
I mean, listen, when you talk about those kinds of things and guys being hungry, yeah, they were hungry because they didn't win. But once again, listen, it's very important that we make that distinction at the point in times of these guys' careers, man, because I just gave you perfect examples. If Patrick Ewing and Reggie Miller teamed up because they couldn't beat Michael Jordan in 1991 or 92, that's a much greater difference than Chris Mullin playing with Reggie Miller on the Pacers in 1998 when these guys are at the end of their careers. And one thing we must also understand, and I'll let you guys go, when you talk and you mention guys in their 12th or 13th season, that's equivalent of you playing 20 years now because the physicality of the game, the wear and tear these guys took on their bodies. So when you look at a guy being 35 years old back then, that's the equivalent of you being damn near 40 right now or you being 37 or 38. Karl Malone, like I said, being 40 years old and looking the way he did, playing the way he did, moving the way he did, that was not something that normally happens. Guys like Robert Parrish, look at how they moved when they got late in their careers. He may have played 20 years, but it wasn't Robert Parrish from the 80s or the early 90s. He was just there to play 10, 11 minutes, man.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that one.
Guys, do you know, you guys all know the history. Jordan was what, in his 7th year or 8th year when he won his first championship, right? Barkley never won a championship. Hakeem was in his, I think, 10th year when he won his first championship. That was what I just mentioned in Jordan, Barkley, and Hakeem, the number 1, 2, and 4 overall picks in the 1984 draft, right? So what happened in 2011, the summer of 2011? LeBron James, the number 1 overall pick in the 2004 draft, joined the number 3 overall pick in the draft and the number 4 overall pick in the draft. What happens? And they all justified it by, Kobe was dominating or the Celtics had a super team at the time. What happens if Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, and Hakeem Olajuwon, after 7 years, looked around the NBA and were like, the Lakers, the Showtime 80s Lakers with 3 Hall of Famers, the Celtics, 3 Hall of Famers. We can't do it. We can't beat these guys. We can't get over the hill. We need to join each other. What the hell would have happened?
Shout out Darko Milicic.
Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, and Hakeem Olajuwon decided to do what those 3 cowards did in 2011.
Let me answer that because I think that Michael Jordan particularly wouldn't have won as many championships because I don't think it would all work together. But the point of it is that it was to your point, it was super corny that they even did that. It wouldn't have worked. No, I don't think it would have worked. I don't think it would have worked.
Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley wouldn't have worked.
No, I think it would have worked.
Listen, you're driving me crazy today, man. You won't give Hakeem Olajuwon any credit today, will you? You lost your mind.
I think it would have worked I think it would have worked similarly. I think they would have won championships. I don't think it would have worked.
They would have won every championship, every single one. You're talking about arguably the 2 greatest two-way players in the history of the game on the same team. Remember, these are unselfish players. Charles Barkley, he's unselfish players, man. These guys are crazy athletes. It would have been insane.
And
the only way I think it could have worked is if they were all on Phil Jackson's team and he made it work. But in respect to the aspect of putting the top guys together, we saw what happened. There is evidence of that with the Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, when they were saying, because everyone, generally speaking, thought it was going to be not 6, not 7, not 8. I think it would have been similar. I think they would have won some. I don't think Michael Jordan would have been successful unless they were on a guy like Phil Jackson's team.
When the Boston Celtics were winning all their championships, they essentially had arguably the greatest center in the game in Bill Russell. You could argue him and Will Chamberlain. They had the greatest small forward in the game in John Havlicek. They had the greatest point guard in Bob Cousy. They had arguably the greatest shooting guard in Sam Jones. So don't tell me that all the greatest players are not going to win games or it cannot work.
No. But they had
leadership. You have Michael Jordan there.
They had Red Auerbach
and winner.
Well, with what Dart said is who knows what would have happened teaming those guys up. But where you lost me at the end was with the Miami comparison, because I think with Miami, you replace LeBron James with any other small forward in that salary range, and they do win a bunch of them. LeBron James is the reason they lost in 2011. He is the reason that they lost. It's not that they didn't work together. He needed to be replaced, and they would have won. And who knows how far they could have taken that with the right piece.
Right. And Dart, here's a better comp, Dart. The whatever in 2014, whenever they joined, probably LeBron was the best player in the NBA, if you want to say at the time. But I would say Durant was a close second, and then Steph Curry was like 5th or 6th probably at the time. When you pair Durant and Curry, that team won every year. Like if Durant ruptured his Achilles in the finals, basically in the 3rd year in a row, and Klay Thompson tore his ACL in that same series, they would have obliterated Toronto. So the year Kawhi won with Toronto would have been an easy three-peat for Durant and Curry. And then they would have, if Durant stayed and they got rid of Draymond instead, or whatever, they kept them all, that team would have won every single year, basically. That's what Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan together on the same. Forget Charles Barkley. Just put Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan on the same team. That team, they win every year. They win 7, 8, however long they wanted to play together. They would have won every single year.
Jordan would have had to show up drunk. It's too easy.
Yeah, let me retort real fast, though. I'm not saying that it couldn't have happened. I think that the Phil Jackson aspect of it, if they had Phil Jackson, they had a personality guy, because I think a lot of it was because, and that was one of the reasons why LeBron James left, is because he said that he didn't think that Eric Spoelstra was a great coach, or that was at least rumored. I've heard that before. I'm not sure if he said it outright. It is the aspect of it is that he wanted to join because of Pat Riley. Now, if Pat Riley was there and he wanted to be coached by Pat Riley, who knows if it would have been different. Again, we're all speaking conjecture here. I'm not saying it couldn't have happened. I'm just saying they would have needed somebody with a strong personality. And to your point, I think that Steve Kerr is a strong coach. He won championships in 3 out of 4 years, and then he won 3 or 4 years later. He's a great coach by any metric. To the point of it is that I don't think they would have won 6, or Michael Jordan would have won 6 unless he had a strong coach like Phil Jackson there. That's it. I'm not saying if they had a weak coach, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening if they had a weak coach.
That's not valid, Dart. Listen. Where were the Chicago Bulls a year before Phil Jackson got there? They happened to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, not in the first round. They didn't miss the playoffs. I'm so tired of people acting like Phil Jackson came to the Bulls because they were floundering around in mediocrity and they needed some direction. You just said a strong personality. They had Michael Jordan. There's no stronger personality. Listen, man. Phil Jackson was not the enforcer on that team. They weren't scared of Phil Jackson. They were scared of Michael Jordan, man. When we talk about Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, the main reason why that dynamic was so effective so quick was because of their games were fluid. They could play and go into different styles and different systems. They can mesh their games together. That's why we talk about LeBron James not making the players around him better. He didn't make Dwayne Wade better or Chris Bosh better. That's why they struggled. That's why it didn't work for them. Even though the talent was there, they were way more superior than the Dallas Mavericks talent-wise. But it didn't work because LeBron James didn't know how to play off ball. He's standing around. He didn't know what to do. Michael Jordan knows what to do. When you talk about Phil Jackson, what did Michael Jordan need? He needed help. He needed guys to develop around him. I guarantee it. If Scottie Pippen develops, Horace Grant develops, B.J. Armstrong, they're going to win with Doug Collins there regardless. They're winning a championship, man.
No,
Phil Jackson's a great coach. I'm not taking nothing away from him. But when we talk about Phil Jackson, let's not act like Phil Jackson came in and turned around the Chicago Bulls. That's not the case. He brought the triangle system in. If you want to say that Michael Jordan needed the triangle offense to be effective, if you want to make an argument that maybe he would have been better with Hakeem Olajuwon in a triangle, then maybe we can go back and forth about that. But the talent and the way that they play their games on the court, remember, Michael Jordan, in fact, takes Hakeem Olajuwon for his all-time starting five. He understands and knows what Hakeem Olajuwon brings to the table, man.
No, but listen, all I'm saying is
There's no
that
answer, Dart. There's no answer to that.
there is an answer.
No
I don't
answer.
think. I think if they had Doug Collins, they probably would have won some.
I love you, man.
Maybe more than. No, it's all good, man. I know you. Yeah. I don't think that they would have won 6 though. I don't think they would have won 2, 3 peats. Again, there's all these what ifs that are involved with it. What if Michael Jordan didn't retire if Doug Collins was the coach? You know, you go down this, I forget what it's called, the butterfly effect or whatever. The aspect of it is, though, is that I think that Phil Jackson was a major part of that. And I think that, again, I think that all those guys would have won some championships together. I don't know if it would have been as successful. That's all.
I just want to, because there was some shade thrown at Derek Fisher, I was just going to remind Scap of Derek Fisher saving Kobe's ass against the Spurs and setting the precedent for the 0.4 seconds left on the shot clock.
In a year they didn't win the championship. Look, the fact that Derek Fisher is considered, I see these scrubs. Hold on, I see these scrubs slither onto my comments like multiple times every time I post a Kobe. And like these scrub people, these scrub contributors that are commenting on my videos will say, list Derek Fisher as a dude who's like a guy to be counted or named, like a teammate to be named. Derek Fisher in 20 years made 0 All-Stars, 0 NBA, All-NBA selections. He's a 6-point per game scorer in his NBA career. And his biggest accolade was he was 6th man. He finished 18th in 6th man of the year one year. When he was in, I think when he was in Utah or one of the years he was in Golden State. That is Derek Fisher. That was Kobe Bryant's starting freaking point guard for his entire career when it wasn't Smush Parker for 2 years.
Wait a minute. Did you want
Kobe's not in GO conversation for winning 5 with
Did you want Derek Fisher? You wanted Derek Fisher to get points with Kobe Bryant on his team? He would have had to take a shot.
Derek Fisher is a scrub. Like anybody else who tries saying Derek Fisher is a great player.
I thought he was a good fit. I thought he looked good on the Lakers.
I mean, listen, Derek Fisher was a solid role player. He played his role for what it was, man. See, this is the thing that we were talking about. Back in the day when I was growing up, to be called a role player wasn't an insult. That's not a knock on a Derek Fisher or a Robert Horry or one of these kinds of guys. But sometimes, like we talk about, they try to inflate these guys. So, i.e., John Paxson, all of a sudden now, John Paxson saved Michael Jordan. If it wasn't for John, now we're trying to elevate guys into realms that they're not really supposed to be in. Derek Fisher was an outstanding role player, man, a role player. Let's remember these things, man.
Thank you.
All right.
I was gonna say real quick that the Rockets almost did get Jordan and Hakeem in that draft. I think they had made a package with Ralph Sampson to try and get Jordan, but the Bulls didn't do it.
How are y'all not exhausted?
Hey, I've been up
you know me.
I got up at 4:30 a.m., guys. I had a flight. I've already flown in, and before I have like maybe 3 hours of sleep right now.
That's a lot of coffee. I see talking right there.
No coffee, brother. I don't drink. I don't take caffeine in.
No, That's what we do, man.
You guys are insane.
Right. This was fun, and it went down a rabbit hole.
What was the topic?
We were
Week
supposed
2
to talk
in
about
What were we
review.
supposed to talk about?
Week 2 in review.
Hey, we started off talking about it.
We did. We reviewed it. Yeah.
We'll do better next week, Dart. Week 3 in review will be a legitimate current events NBA week 3. The rabbit hole we went on was obviously me coming up.
We got to figure out what the trigger words are for Robin and Scap. so we can keep it going.
As long as everybody understands that the Los Angeles Lakers are on pace to be a plus 900 at the free throw line this season. If you extrapolate the plus 70 that they're at now after 6 games, they'll be over plus 900. They'll probably almost be closer to plus 1,000 this season. This just one season, not over 2 seasons. One season. That's the pace that they're on now. And if you look at some of the numbers with the Lakers, they're not one of the better teams at defending the three-point line, the field goal percentages, things of that nature. So the Lakers, but the thing about the Lakers, and I'll give them credit for this, they're one of the top free throw percentage teams. So they go there and they make you pay for putting them there.
You can't hang up until I ask this question. Hoops God, when is the last time you tweaked all that hair out? Because you got some hair.
You said the last time I tweaked. Well, I personally
you made it big.
Okay. So, it's been a while. I'll have to find one of my older photos. And,
Yo, what's this obsession with hair, man? You guys are making me a little envious here, man.
Not you guys. Not you guys.
Head, man.
That's
it's one person.
Talk out here.
That's
one person.
Hair. That's
one sick ass person.
It's impressive.
Hey, Robin, I have to be honest. When Dar put the close up on you with the hat on for some reason, you kind of look like Jamal Murray right now. Now I see why. I see why you're defending him all the time.
Are you Jamal right
now? I see it now. Okay, yeah, I see it.
I think that I'm a little bit a better looking guy than Jamal Murray, man. I'll be honest with you guys, man.
Apparently not.
At least you don't get Richard Jefferson and Bomani Jones, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, I would be more durable and a lot more tougher and more grit than Jamal Murray had, man. I'd be out there with Nikola Jokic, man.
I haven't put this out here, but I've gotten this in real life. Sometimes I'll get groove from the
damn, that
hurt. Hey, Dart, can I do the sign off?
I get Drake a lot.
You're gonna do the sign off, AOH? You're gonna say it?
Well, I tried doing a signature on my Wednesday show. Goodbye, everybody, and LeBron James is a bitch.
Hey, trademark that. Trademark.
That sounds great.
Go trademark that.
You have to do it with less enthusiasm, like me. That's what...
Hello, everybody. LeBron James is a bitch.
Michael Jordan fans are whatever.
Anyway.
Oh, thank you for clarifying the joke for us, Speam.
That's why I'm here.
Bring it. Bring in the content.
Speam, you want to sign us off with that?
No, that was AOH just kind of took my heart out there. So I don't know how to move past it. Awkward closing. Just close it in the middle of me talking.
Michael Jordan fans.
Just close it. Just close it.